Ladies and gentlemen, I know Detroit is going to be upset about some of my opinions about this story, but Detroit, I need y'all to come to the front of the congregation. I got some things to say about y'all city. I am tired of seeing stories come out of Detroit, but I got to tell you, I tend to think with this particular story that there might have been some people involved in this that might have seen something and didn't say anything. Some people that knew something was wrong and didn't really get on the ball, didn't get on the phone, didn't report it properly. I'll leave that to be seen, but that's my personal opinion. But let me say this. I got to give you guys a disclaimer before I get flagged on my channel. Some of you guys might find this content controversial and offensive. The information comes from many sources, including courts, police records, and news articles. My commentary is going to have my personal opinion about the facts of this story. The point of this is to try to use these as cautionary tales to make sure that no more kids go through this. Viewer discretion is advised, and that is your what? Official disclaimer. Detroit, y'all done messed up again. A Detroit mother, and I'm getting this from people.com, so thank you for the article. A Detroit mother accused of torturing and murdering her own 3-year-old son. If that wasn't already bad enough, she concealed the boy's body in a freezer in her house. This beautiful baby boy that you guys see on my screen, that is the fate that he suffered behind his own mother. But it's going to get worse, so I want you guys to bear with me. She concealed his dead body. She didn't call 911. She didn't call the police. She didn't try to get him help. She didn't, what is that? Safe haven? You know, they got safe havens in a lot of places, right? If you don't want the kids, she didn't want the kid to get adopted. She didn't want to get a kid up to the baby daddy. Maybe let the dad side of the family take care of the kid. You know why I believe that she didn't? Y'all know what our hashtag is, right? For anybody who has watched this channel for any period of time, even if you've been watching for a couple months, you know one of our popular hashtags is hashtag babies for benefits. Because in my humble opinion, I believe that these these awesome black queen mothers only are having these children to benefit from these kids. The only reason. They don't have them because they love them. They don't have them because they want to preserve their legacy and see these children grow up and become something great. No, they want to get some Section 8, some food stamps. They want to make sure and continue to keep a proverbial chain around the baby daddy's neck as a form of control to keep a man or to control a man or to make a man miserable, right? Did I say anything that was wrong there? Did I say anything that was factually inaccurate? I didn't say all. Can't make that argument. Well, it's not all, DJ Just Jay. And I got to give a shout out to Tommy Sotomayor because I watched him for years. And I got to say, it is absolutely ridiculous how many times I've seen people call into his show and they'll be like, it's not all, y'all. It ain't all. But we won't even focus on the story, the topic that we're talking about. What about this baby? What about that broad that you see on the right-hand side of my screen that literally looks like the Gorilla Glue girl? Let me back that up like a U-Haul truck. That was kind of funny to me. That was real funny to me. Look at this. This woman looked like she came out of Bikini Bottom on SpongeBob with this pineapple haircut. What in the hell do you call that on your head, ma'am? I don't know. But it looks like a hot mess. It looks like it smells bad. It looks like you should have kept a receipt for it. I don't even know if it's dead. I don't know. No pun intended. No pun intended. That is a hot mess. But I want y'all to look at this. This literally looks like somebody took some plaster and primer and put it on her goddamn forehead and pasted this crap to her head and tied a mop on the top of it. That looks horrible, ma'am. Do you think men are attracted to that? But I guess if a man gives you some penis, I think they just think that makes them attractive because somebody wants to do a carnal act and an animalistic act, like place a penis inside of a vagina, right? So, newsflash, ladies, if you are one of those type of women, I know it's not all, but I'm sorry, I'm on one today. I'm so sorry. But I gotta say this. If you are one of those women that believe that men desire you just because they want to sleep with you, ma'am, let me tell you, most men will sleep with anything that has a heartbeat. We are not the brightest creatures, and we can do some of the most disgusting things that you could possibly think of, okay? Right? Ladies, some of y'all ladies ought to hear me out there, right? Don't let that fool you. Men will do anything and everything to get some ass from anything that has a heartbeat, including this jungle creature, jungle love. Look like who did it and why, I don't know, but let's keep going. They are actually charging her with murder, and she pled not guilty and not guilty to other charges on Sunday. So this is very, very recent. And for those who might have saw this story early on, you did not see this baby's face, nor did you see the mother's face. And I got to give a huge shout out to Illicit Deeds. Y'all better stop laughing at me in the chat now. I'm trying to be serious. Trying to be serious, y'all. But I do got to give a huge shout out to my friend and advocate, Illicit Deeds, because we worked together with this. I made sure and got her what she needed. She got me what I needed. We were able to obtain, after I think it took maybe like a day or so, but we were able to obtain the mother's picture after she was officially charged. And I was able to find a picture of the baby by way of the GoFundMe. So I was thankful that somebody was greedy enough to put up a freaking GoFundMe. So thank you, buddy. Thank you. That's how I was able to find the boy's picture. Go freaking fund me. Because when you got dead kids, what do you have? Go fund me. Because somebody got to bury their kid for $100,000 out here, right? The biological mother's name, from what I understand, her name, let me see if I could put this on the screen. I want y'all to tell me how do you pronounce this? Azuarade. France. I can spell France. Let me see if I can put this on the screen for y'all real quick. Give me a second. I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk for a moment. I want y'all to look at this name. This is the mother's name. How do you pronounce that? Azuarade. Azurardi? Chef Boyardee? How do you pronounce that? Why would you name your kid that? Azwaradi? I don't look. I'm not going to even try it. Let me go ahead and take that off my screen. I don't know how you pronounce that, and I know the family going to be like, you can't even pronounce that simple name. That's not a simple name. That's a name that you made up. That name doesn't mean anything, because y'all know names are actually supposed to mean something, right? You should be able to Google search the name, see what the name means. The name should have some meaning, right? But these people have been given names that don't mean a damn thing. Talking about, we give these people these unique, quote unquote, unique names, right? Because we want to be different. We want to create some culture. Well, if our culture is murder and stupidity, I don't think it's a good culture to have, right? I think you should give people to want to aspire to be something great rather than giving them something that don't mean a damn thing. Because in my opinion, stupid names equal stupid things. It equals stupid actions. And what this woman did was beyond stupid. She has 5 other children. Can y'all believe that at 31 years old? She has 5 other children. So how many children does she have? 6 kids at 31 years old. Why? What you gonna tell me? All children are a blessing. No, they're not. Y'all ever heard somebody say that? Look, I'm from the black community. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I've heard our people say that. Children are a blessing. Have y'all ever heard anybody say that? Because I tend to disagree. I disagree. You want to know what I tend to think? I think that children are a choice, not a blessing. They are a choice. They are a decision. between two consenting adults to create a life. That is a choice. That ain't some divine blessing from God and he was just raining down semen and you just happen to be on your back with your legs up. Let me stop. Woo! Let me stop. That sounded really close to blasphemy, did it not? Let me stop. Let me stop. 6 freaking what? Man, I know dudes like to get it in, but I don't understand. Like, if you knew that she had 1 kid, 2 kids, 3, 4 kids, 5 kids, why would you, like, you just gonna keep going in her raw? If you look at her house, you can tell this woman probably smells horrible. She probably has terrible hygiene. If you look at her hair, I would just have to assume if it's in her hair, it's in her pores. If it's in her pores, it's going to come out of her skin. If it's going to come out of her skin, it's going to come out of her vajayjay. Probably smells pretty damn bad. I just can't understand why dudes are that damn desperate. I'm sorry, but look, I ain't trying to smell like ass for 3 or 4 days. Let me stop. Y'all gonna need to pray for me. I'm so sorry. 6 kids at 31 years old. What do you want to bet that she's probably got at least, 5 different baby daddies? Maybe 4? 5 other kids along with this child, and there's actually a little bit of information I'm going to tell you about him in just a second, was additionally charged with first-degree child abuse, torture, and concealing the death by Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy. France's next hearing is scheduled for July the 8th. The prosecutor's office says people was unable to reach her attorney. She probably has a public defender, I'm assuming, if she lives in that crappy-ass house that the government probably handed her and said, just don't screw it up. And she did anyway. She didn't give a damn. Because when you give people stuff for free, they don't take care of it. That's just the way it works. The deceased boy has been identified by family members in news reports as 3-year-old Chase Allen. That angel that you see on my screen, that's Chase Allen, 3 years old. During a Friday news conference, Detroit Police Chief James White described the boy's death as a tragic case, saying that it was something no one should have to see. The other kids, just imagine what they had gone through and what they must have endured being inside of this home. And from what I heard, it was absolutely filthy and disgusting on the inside. And yes, a child was decomposing and found in a freezer in this alleged home. After Child Protective Services workers were contacted by an unknown caller on Friday, so somebody knew something was going wrong, like I already said, 3 police officers on the scene interviewed the mother. According to White, it was determined that the 3-year-old child was deceased in the home in the basement and sadly found in the freezer. This case has shocked me. It has shocked our investigators, but the discovery would not have been possible without officers' intuition. So they left a little bit of the story out, so let me tell you what the other portion of it is. Somebody saw something and said something, knocked on the door. She came to the door. They wanted to investigate, like, hey, we're doing a welfare check. We found out something is wrong, or we heard something is wrong. We would like to check the home and see what's going on. She stopped them at the door and tried to prevent the officers from coming in to check out anything. But she wasn't able to prevent them. So I don't know if they legally had the right to enter the home. I'm assuming that they probably did. But they entered the home and they realized they only found 5 out of 6 kids. And that's when they realized something is wrong. They said it's unclear how long Chase had been in the freezer. If those kids are a little bit older, let's just say if maybe one of them is 8 or 9 or so, I would assume. So if she's 6 kids, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 5. So yeah, I guess it depends on when she first started having the kids as far as how old they are. But I'm assuming that they would know how to talk. They would have some comprehension skills. They'd be able to tell you how long that their sibling was missing, unless she just prevented them from going to school, which is not far from what could have been possible. But they have no idea how long he'd been dead. When they talked to the occupant of the home, they recognized that there was something not right about the conversation and the way that the occupant was communicating with them, which is the mother. White said, alleging that France was acting oddly and responding in a way meant to push the officers away as if there was nothing going on. But their intuition and their experience led them to know that something was wrong. Subsequently, the boy's body was discovered in the basement and the freezer. I just don't understand how a human can even do that. You just can't be that level of dumb. You can't be that level of dumb and callous to think that not only to hide a human dead body in a house, the smell of a dead human should get you in itself. But no, it didn't. And on top of that, it's a child that you produced. You didn't give a damn about your own flesh and blood, a child that you forced into this world. He didn't choose to be here. You brought him into this world against his own will and then did that to him. Here's what I find funny. Let me be real with y'all just for a second. Y'all know how we get these GoFundMe accounts? Let me show y'all this while I got it up on my screen. It just made me think about it. Let me show y'all something real quick. Like Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something. Let me get this up here. Can you guys see how much GoFundMe money that they're trying to raise? Tony Haynes is the grandmother. So this is the grandmother's GoFundMe. Can y'all see how much the grandmother is asking for? Even though she didn't have custody of this child. You don't even see the biological father asking for money on behalf of this child. A grandmother asking for $10,000. $10,000. And I continue to say this. We care more about burying children and giving them extravagant funerals. They got to have custom-made caskets. They got to have custom-made suits. They got to have the best burial plots. They just got to go all out. Got to get it at the biggest church. Got to have freaking Pastor Creflo Dollar come out and come speak. You got to pay for his flight and hotel and food and expenses. Give him the best funeral, but we give him a fucked up life. Isn't that something? We give him a wonderful funeral and the worst human life possible. Now, does everybody understand my stance on GoFundMe? Because I thought I was very clear about what I said. We'll throw all of this money into the ground, but we won't invest it into our living children. And I think that trend absolutely has to stop. I think my message is very clear about that. Anyway, let's keep going. France's other children, the other 5 children, were taken to the hospital to be evaluated or in the custody of Child Protective Services, according to Police Captain Kimberly Blackwell, who also spoke at a news conference. Let me skip the rest of that. Let me go ahead and show you guys the news videos. I think there was only a couple of them, but here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys would, I know I've been saying a lot. I hope everybody understands where I'm coming from. If y'all would, do me a favor and please click the thumbs up for Chase Allen in the memory of this baby and for all babies. Click that thumbs up because we want to share this story and we want YouTube to recommend it to more people so they can know what's going on. People are turning a blind eye to stories just like this. You can do something as easy as just click that thumbs up. We want to have at least one thumb up for everybody that's watching because we know those people are at least here, okay? Here we go. Let's get it.
Where a child was found dead in a freezer.
Let's go ahead and get out now to Nick Monticelli with an update. Nick, what can you tell us? Well, Sandra, I heard you just a few moments ago talking about the fact that there really are more questions than answers. And
yes, somebody in the chat actually caught that. I do apologize. I said I was going to bring that detail up, but I forgot. One of the special conditions that this boy Chase Allen had was that he was blind. So if y'all could type that in the chat, that the 3-year-old boy was also blind. If a couple of y'all can type that so more people can see it, you'll see the chat on the screen. I did forget to mention that, so thank you. That's why we have the live chat. Thank you for reminding me. Definitely appreciate that.
this is one of those cases where I have never seen more questions than answers. Yes, we know that a 3-year-old boy is dead. We know that he was found in a basement in a freezer inside of this home behind me, but really that's all we know outside of the fact that there was one arrest. Take a look at this map. We're in the 12,000 block of Monte Vista on Detroit's west side near 96 and Grand River. Now, police were called here at about 1 o'clock in the morning. They called for evidence technicians to come and gather whatever evidence they might be able to, but that was honestly not too much because of the circumstances. You can take a look at this video again, looking at this home in the 12,000 block of Monte Vista. So we have heard that police may have been called for a welfare check, and that's how they found the boy, but that's just a rumor at this point, and we haven't confirmed any of those details yet. So that may be true, and that might not be true. So just kind of bear with us on some of these facts that are going to be changing throughout the day. We do not know how the little boy died, if this was an accidental situation and somebody just lost their mind, freaked out a little bit, and unfortunately placed him in a freezer, or if there was something more malicious going on here. That's a possibility as well. Again, I hate to stand here and just, kind of guess as we go along, but we're just trying to kind of sort all these details out as we go. But the bottom line as we come back out here live is that we do know that this 3-year-old boy was found dead in a freezer in the basement inside of this home. How did he get there? What happened? All questions that still have to be answered. But we do know that a 30-year-old female who lives in this home has been arrested. What's the relationship? Again, something we don't know. Is it the boy's mother, a caregiver, an aunt? Something we've got to figure out as well. So,
happening now, Detroit police homicide investigators now questioning a mother after her 3-year-old was found inside of a basement freezer.
Really unthinkable. The shocking discovery happening in a home on Monte Vista near Fullerton on Detroit's west side. 7 Action News reporter Simon Shaquette is digging for answers in the case and shows us how the little boy was found.
Detroit police say the mother of a 3-year-old boy is in custody for questioning after a visit from Child Protective Services revealed a horrifying discovery.
Mom was asked some questions, and it just didn't seem right to the officers.
Inside a home on Monte Vista, neighbors saw a large police presence last night and early this morning. Since then, police confirming investigators from Child Protective Services and their own officers were able to sense something was wrong during a routine welfare check. A mother of 6 children allegedly giving them answers that didn't make sense.
So let me add this. Y'all are asking what was the cause of death. If he was tortured, I'm assuming that she probably beat him and he probably had blunt force trauma. That information has not come out yet, but I'm just assuming that he probably had blunt force trauma. He could have suffered lacerated organs on the inside. He could have bled and died. He could have died from brain injuries. I would hate to think, because somebody in the chat suggested it, what if she put him in the freezer while he was alive as a means of punishment? Like he can't even see. I don't know, man. I think that autopsy report is going to be real scary when that comes out. Like to find out what she actually did. But we got a couple more videos. Here we go. How old are the other kids? They did not list it. At least not yet. I could probably look again, but they didn't list them. But they said 5 other kids, so that sounds like 6 kids. She could have starved them. I'm assuming that was probably some stuff that was going on. I'm assuming she definitely probably starved them also. But I don't have the other kids' ages. All I know is the mom is 31. She got 6 kids. So let's just say 31, 21, they could be 10. 19, 18, 17, 16. Shit, the oldest kid could be like 14 or 15 or even 16 years old, depending on when she started having kids. So it's a big guessing pool in there.
A search of a basement freezer where a 3-year-old boy's body was found.
It was determined that the 3-year-old child was deceased in this home in the basement and sadly found in a freezer. The other kids that were in the home, just imagine what they must have gone through.
Let me see. Ann is saying that, excuse me, not Ann. Nancy is saying that the children were between the ages of 9 years old and 6 months old. So I can't verify that, but I do thank you for saying that. But that at least kind of gives us something to think about of a possible range of age of the children.
And what they must have endured.
The mother immediately taken into custody for questioning. Her 5 other children placed with CPS in a case that's truly left neighbors and detectives stunned. Among their questions, how this happened and why.
So here's the thing. I think that's actually a good question. We had somebody in the chat who asked, if it's babies for benefits, then why murder the baby? She murdered the baby because she did not love the baby. The baby also had a disability, which means it takes more work. It takes more time. It works on their emotional nerves, especially when you're having 5 other individuals. So naturally, if you have children with the oldest being 9, I'm assuming they probably would be able to put up more of a fight than a blind 3-year-old. And most of us who are black understands that we grew up in a culture, not all of us, but a lot of us grew up in a culture where it was accepted that whenever you just didn't do something that your parents wanted you to do, or if they just happen to be having a bad day, you get spankings. Some people got beatings. So it became accepted for us to inflict physical damage to children as a means of calling it corrective action, which is not what that is. But a lot of people can actually tell you stories, like I say, primarily from my community. I don't know if other people have probably been through this, and maybe some of y'all can attest to it. But a lot of people only survived the beatings and spankings and whoopings or beatdowns or whatever you want to call it from their parents or caretakers. They survived them. But then you got a lot of children like these that don't survive those beatings and getting hit with objects and all this other crazy stuff. So just throwing that out there.
Recalling how she looked after the 3-year-old's other siblings.
When they did come and visit me, we had great fun.
Sadly, for some reason, she says she did not see the 3-year-old for months and was told by the mother that he was visiting family out of state.
Mind you, she did say that he was in Alabama. So I don't know when he became officially missing.
Still no word on how soon charges could potentially be filed. Child Protective Services reviewing this case, determining who will get custody of the other children in this home. From Detroit, Simon Shakette, 7 Action.
Horrific story in Detroit where the body of a 3-year-old boy is found in a basement freezer.
Tonight, that child's mother has been arrested, and we're learning more about the police and how they made the discovery. And now we're finding out who that little boy was. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack is live with the details. And Jess, it's hard to even imagine talking about the premise of this story. What happened here?
Yeah, disgusting doesn't even touch it. We're talking about 3-year-old Chase, who is blind. His mother now arrested in connection to his death. We're told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with Detroit.
Let's back that up. Let's hear that again.
Yeah, disgusting doesn't even touch it. We're talking about 3-year-old Chase, who is blind. His mother now arrested in connection to his death. We're told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with They're now arrested in connection to his death. We're told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the
Y'all catch that?
Connection to his death. We're told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with
And so now you would have to wonder if she has a lengthy history with Child Protective Services, one would have to ask, how do no family members don't know anything about this? Who was calling into CPS? Was it the neighbors? Was it family members? Where are the biological fathers at? I can guarantee you it's more than 3 biological fathers with 6 kids with a woman at the age of 31 years old. I'd be willing to bet everything in my pocket that's the case. It's at least 3 baby daddies. Where are any of them? Did any of them come out and speak and do an interview? No, they didn't. A history with CPS, and she got to keep the kids. What the hell was CPS doing? Now, y'all know I don't tend to put the blame on CPS because I think CPS is really just a measure, kind of like a safety net just in case, that we shouldn't be using to this extent. It's an overworked, underpaid system. It's going to fail. It is continuing to fail. And I continue to keep telling people, we got to stop pointing the blame at CPS, and you got to start pointing the blame at who's out here creating the kids, mom and dad. That's who you got. You got to start putting the blame back on them. It's just like, well, I guess, well, I'm not going to say any names, but I will say I had somebody ask me about Roe versus Wade. You know what I said about that? It doesn't matter whether they have it into law or whether they take it out of law. It doesn't matter. Because people are still going to be doing the actions that get us to that point anyway. You have to put the onus back on the people. The people who are causing this situation. The people who are creating those children. The people who are providing their seed to those women, right? All of this comes back full circle. We can talk about politics. We can talk about relationships. We can talk about kids. All of this goes together. Every bit of everything I talk about goes together. You have to put the onus on the people. CPS is going to fail. Abortion is going to be a problem whether you have it or whether you don't. Whether you outlaw it or whether you don't. It's still going to be a problem when you have a bunch of unwanted children. When we have plenty of education, plenty of contraceptives, plenty of ways to prevent people from having sex unless they want to. It's a choice that we're making, the bad choices. This woman had 6 kids for no reason. Let me tell you something. This broad knew that she was broke before she had any kids. You know why? Because she never had a nice house. She probably was always a broke bitch. Then she had a kid, got Section 8, got into this crappy house, and guess what she did? Kept pumping out kids to get more and more support, more and more food stamps. The more kids you have, the more food stamps they give you. The more kids you have, it's kind of like playing the lottery. The more chances you have of getting more child support. It's not all. Got it? Not all. But too many of them are doing this for the assistance, for the benefits. In my humble opinion, I think that we would probably do ourselves a bigger favor. Help people who have either marriages that need help. We need to prioritize marriages first because those people are actually trying to work together and do the right thing, right? Having their children under one roof, work together, have a plan of action. Married couples need help too sometimes. But if you have a situation where a single mother gets pregnant consensually, and has a kid and needs help, yes, help her. Hashtag mothers need help. Yes, they do. My suggestion, cut all of them off after 1 kid. Because unless you are being taken advantage of sexually, we call that sexual assault, or that word that I can't say on YouTube, unless that's happening, then you're having children because you want to have them consensually. So you're making a conscious choice to continue to keep participating in a recreational act and producing kids. Therefore, you should be on your fucking own. Hello. 1 kid, you get help. Have more than 1, you're on your own. We have to start creating some accountability. The fact that this woman can have 6 kids, not be married, and not be working, not be doing anything positive in life, and have a crappy house that was given to her, and she just ran it into the ground, all of that is a crime in itself. Having children without a plan should be a crime in itself. We don't need to put laws on the books. Just hold people accountable for their stupidity. I'm sorry, I know I said a lot. Let me play the news video. Multiple calls to CPS, and they let her continue to keep keeping these 6 kids. Well, it ended up being 5 because they don't even know how long one of them was dead.
Yeah, disgusting doesn't even touch it. We're talking about 3-year-old Chase, who is blind. His mother now arrested in connection to his death. We're told she has a lengthy history with Children's Protective Services, CPS. That's what triggered the welfare check with Detroit police earlier to their home on Detroit's west side. Officers say that the mom's answers just weren't adding up. Something was odd. They went inside, checked the home, and that's where they found Chase's decomposing body in the basement freezer. Now, Detroit police won't say exactly how long that he was in that freezer, but sources tell us it's been since at least March.
He was the sweetest one. Sweet. He was so sweet.
That's the voice of a grieving family member hours after learning 3-year-old Chase, who is blind, was found dead inside of a freezer.
We loved him and we miss him, and she need to pay for what she did.
Chase's mom, who goes by Dee Dee, is under arrest in connection to the toddler's death. We're told by family 6 children, including Chase and a newborn, were living in unlivable conditions inside this home off Monte Vista on Detroit's west side.
They didn't have anything. In the winter, I saw them with summer clothes.
Neighbors say they tried to help, but the child's mom, Dee Dee, wouldn't let anyone in, including family, who say they haven't seen Chase since last September.
First, she said she gave him, was in the hospital when she gave him away. Then she said a couple had him. It was just too many stories not making sense.
Detroit police say Children's Protective Services, CPS, contacted DPD Friday morning to do a welfare check at the home. Police say Dee Dee's answers to their questions did not add up. When they went inside, they found Chase's body decomposing in a basement freezer that was not working. Sources say he's been inside the freezer since at least March, but
Okay, I gotta admit, y'all, I missed that detail. Let me rewind this about 10 seconds. Let me see if y'all catch what I just heard.
Dee Dee's answers to their questions did not add up. When they went inside, they found Chase's body decomposing in a basement freezer that was not working.
They found his body in a deep freezer that wasn't working. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Can somebody in the chat tell me? I know we're live right now. If y'all would do me a favor and click the thumbs up. The freezer was not working. So if you put a dead human body in a freezer that's not working, what is going to be the result of that? That means you will smell that death all throughout that house and probably smell it as close as that house is. The neighbors probably smelt that too. Every house next to that one would smell that. Thank you. The smell would have got you. And if he was in there for months, any level of months, when they came by to check and do these welfare checks, did you not smell dead ass? Huh. I think you probably said it the way I wanted to say it. It stinks to high heaven. I don't know how that wasn't the prevalent thing.
To say he's been inside the freezer since at least March, but police have not.
So they said at least March. So for those who said that, yes, at least March, April, May, June. At least 3 months, but they're saying we don't know that for a fact. So they can't narrow it down to a date. So it could have been longer than 3 months. It could be 3 months or more. but a minimum of 3 months. That smell would never. Ooh, I almost got sick thinking about that.
Confirmed.
The other kids that were in the home, just imagine what they must have gone through and what they must have endured.
Family tells Fox 2 they've been trying to intervene for years and get the kids out of there, calling CPS more than a dozen times.
She couldn't deal with it, and everybody asked, if you don't want to be bothered, give them to us.
Court records show Dee Dee was convicted of child abuse in 2018 for beating her nephew and has a long history with CPS.
She had her kids taken away from her.
Before, yes, and got them back. Yes, and got them back.
She brought up another interesting point. Now, somebody in the chat said that the freezer could be airtight. I think you might be right about that. Even if the freezer wasn't working, it might have been airtight, but I don't know. Something tells me that she probably didn't have the nicest freezer. So you know that little the airtight seal that goes around that freezer when you close it? You know how that thing can start to break down if you don't take care of it, and it starts to form holes and cracks in it? I can almost guarantee you, even if it was quote unquote airtight, air was getting in and out of that freezer that was not working, that was probably old and raggedy. I can almost guarantee you that. They smelled it. And another thing that this woman said was that she lost, I think that was the grandmother. I think that was who was speaking, but she said that the kids had been taken from her before and she got the kids back. And I ask, like the famous Kanye West said, aka Ye, how, Sway, how? How did she get the kids back? How does she, don't you have to qualify to get the kids back if you lose custody? They took the kids for a damn reason. How do you get them back? How did you qualify? Did you show them that you had a great job? Hell no, she didn't. Did you show them that you had a car? I don't see no car. Hell no, she didn't. Did you see that the house looked like somebody pulled it out of their ass and just set it on top of that property? Right? It looks like crap from the outside. If you laid eyeballs on the inside, it probably looked even more like, it looked like stir-fried crap on the inside. So what qualified her to get her children back? What were the qualifications? What should you have in place to qualify to get your kids back? I don't understand that at all.
Court records show Dee Dee was convicted of child abuse in 2018 for beating her nephew and has a long history with CPS.
Convicted. So that means she's a criminal that got her kids back. Beating her nephews, but got her kids back after she lost them. That is flat out ridiculous.
She had her kids taken away from her.
Before, yes, and got them back. Yeah.
Our other top story here at 5. A mother is in police custody tonight after the body of a child was found in a basement freezer on Detroit's west side.
This is just awful. Police made the discovery when they went to the home on Monte Vista near I-96 in Myers. Victor Williams is live at that house tonight. Victor, any word on what got police to make that welfare check in the first place?
Well, Kimberly, we're told that this is all the result of a CPS investigation and welfare check. Once the police made it to the door, they realized that something just was not right. Now, they have no idea how long this child was potentially in that freezer or what led to this happening to begin with. But as you guys can see from this glowing memorial behind me, this is something that the community is definitely broken up for. And we know that it's heartbreaking news for one woman in particular who is actually trying to take care of this little boy.
It's a hurting thing because I've asked her, if he was too much to give him to me.
Lynette Hardy could never have children of her own, so she was downright devastated learning the 3-year-old boy next door was found dead in a basement freezer.
We have been praying that the little boy will be found. But I had no idea he would be found dead. He was blind.
Lynette says the child had been missing since January. 5 other kids were in the house when the heartbreaking...
Whoa, stop. Let me let y'all hear that again. That's why I play. If y'all are ever wondering why I play so many news videos, that's why. And thank you for the compliment. Thank you. I want y'all to hear that again. This is a different report that's saying this boy had been missing since January. Did y'all catch that? I just caught it. That's why I bring so many news videos, because sometimes they'll have different information or conflicting information, and we can decipher it and figure it out. Since January, listen at this again.
He was blind.
Lynette says the child had been missing since January. 5 of them had been missing since January.
Blind.
Lynette says the child had been missing since January.
Blind.
Lynette says the child had been missing since January.
January, February, March, April, May, June. Now you're talking about 5 months of a decaying human individual that was left in a non-working, raggedy freezer in a basement of a home. Missing since January. I'm going to assume that he's been dead since that time, if he was missing.
Other kids were in the house when the heartbreaking discovery was made following a welfare check and CPS investigation. Lynette had seen them all except the little boy that was discovered.
I did help clothe them and feed them. They were very loving children.
Prior to her being told he was missing, she was led to believe he was sent to go live with family.
She had said that her aunt and uncle in Alabama had him.
The mother has been taken into custody. Lynette, however, never saw anything out of the ordinary.
And as a matter of fact, the mother was loving.
Detroit Police Chief James White says the department is looking at all possibilities. The sad thing is what happens to the other children now that were inside the home.
And we're looking to see what other incidents she's had with CPS as well as the police department. That'll be part of our overall investigation.
I had tears, but then again, I was kind of consoled by him not being able to endure any more hardship.
So let me go ahead and cut this off, and let me finish by saying this. In my humble opinion, so I want y'all to hear me out, and y'all just tell me in the chat if I'm right or if I'm wrong about what I'm saying. It's a live chat. You could type what you need to type in the chat and tell me if I'm wrong, if you're listening. In my opinion, if you have been convicted of abuse of a child that is in your care, in my humble opinion, I don't think you should be able to get kids back, and definitely not get them back easily. Or if you do give this woman back her kids, there should be qualifications for you to get your kids back. One of the first things that I always suggest is that you should be forced to take parenting classes before you get your kids back, not while you got your kids. Forced to be taking parenting classes. Second thing, job placement. Have a job, work a job, and work a job that will be suitable enough to be able to take care of all the kids that you have. So if you've got 10 kids, if you ain't working a job that'll take care of 10 kids, I don't think you should get 10 kids back. Oops. Y'all need me to say that again? Because I know some people, I haven't heard anybody say this, but tell me again if I'm wrong. If you got 10 kids, and while you're going through this job training, this job placement, if that job that you get can't take care of 10 kids, you should not get 10 kids back. You should only get back what you can take care of. I think that makes sense. Number 3, if you're beating kids, anger management courses. Anger management. Lastly, once the courts decide to give you those kids back, then I think it is mandatory that every week somebody should be randomly showing up to that house and checking on all of the kids that you have been given back in your custody. Every single one of them. It should be random. They could come anytime. They could come every week. They could come a couple of times a month. But I think a minimum of 2 random times a month would be sufficient, especially if this child has been missing since January. He's blind. He can't see. He's extremely vulnerable to a woman that has proven that she is not good around kids. I think it should be highly questionable for an individual to get custody back of kids. That's a lot of stress. That is a lot of work to take care of 6 human beings by yourself. Where is her husband? No ring on the finger. Dudes are just plugging this woman up and going about their merry little way. I don't think that's conducive to put kids back in a home that doesn't have proper support. I think it takes at least 2 individuals to work together to raise kids. That's the way it's worked ever since our existence. We've worked together. We don't bring kids into this world and do the shit by ourselves. A lot of people do, and they think, oh, well, that's normal. That's the way I was raised, and my mama did a good job, y'all. Because you survived. But we always talk about that's the microcosm example of a bigger problem. You want to give me the 1 or 2 success stories and want me to ignore the 2,000 stories that were not so successful. And I think that's the hypocrisy of most people's argument when they come to my comment section, when they hit my email up, when they send me all these stupid ass empty death threats behind the words that I speak, which I think I'm speaking a lot of truth to these stories. And if you listen, I think I've given the world a ton of solutions that we can use today to make sure that this don't happen tomorrow or next week or next weekend. All of this could stop by simply following those rules just in this story alone. That boy needed an advocate. That boy needed a father. That boy was doomed. Matter of fact, I don't want y'all to think I'm being disrespectful by doing this before I close this story out. But let me show y'all something. We got a lot more to talk about. Let me show y'all something that's wild and crazy. I want to see if anybody catches this. When you guys take a look at this picture of Chase Allen, this beautiful baby boy around 3 years old. He's either 2 or 3 in this picture. We don't know. They don't even know when he was missing. What is wrong with this picture? Can anybody see it? What is wrong with the picture that's on my screen? If you see it, type it in the chat and let me know. What's wrong with this picture? He has a family-size bag of Cheeto chips. Why would a 3-year-old child need to be pigging out on unhealthy ass damaging snacks? We feed our children bullshit. How many of y'all are still feeding your children McDonald's? How many of you people are still giving your children soda or pop, wherever you're from? Carbonated drinks. How many of you people are even paying attention and looking at the juicy juices and grape drinks and orange drinks that you give your kids, and look at how much added sugar is in the stuff that you're feeding your kids? Does anybody pay attention to that? Do you know how much water your children consume? Does that not hurt their development? What you feed them? If you feed children garbage, what are they? Don't they say you are what you eat? Is that not what they say? Tell me when I'm wrong. If you are what you eat, and if you are constantly feeding your kids fast food and bull crap because it's cheap and it's convenient, then I think that you should not be a parent. Because you don't love your kids. You don't love their future, and you don't want them to grow up and develop and become something great. If you're constantly feeding them trash, because that trash is going to filter through their body and it's going to affect their brains. Think about why we have all of this mental illness. Couldn't some of that be attributed to the way that we feed our children, the way we feed people? If you feed them garbage and you feed them And I talked about this. Matter of fact, I play Fortnite. I don't know if some of y'all play Fortnite, but I'll tell this story. I play Fortnite with some people, and we were talking about, and I was telling them why you don't microwave food. Because I said that when you microwave food, it actually kills the nutrients in the food. We are naturally herbivores, not carnivores. That's why you can't just take a bloody piece of meat and eat it and think that you're going to survive. We are not carnivores. We're herbivores. We're supposed to eat alive food. I'm sure some of y'all know that, but maybe some people are listening didn't know that. But the more you feed your children crap, the more it harms their development. And I think if you do spend the most extravagant amount of money, but the last I checked, you ought to be able to afford fruits and vegetables and healthy food. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be having more kids on top of more kids on top of more kids. You understand my point. I want to say this to this beautiful baby boy, young Prince, R.I.P. To his mother, she should get life in prison, and that should be it. And I hope that those children go to a home where they can be cared for, where they can grow up and become something great. Y'all keep those other 5 children. 5 children. Please keep them in your prayers because they're going to need it. But I thank you guys so much for listening to the story. If we do any updates, it'll probably just to be telling you how many life sentences that they gave this stupid-ass individual who looks like the Gorilla Glue girl on crack. All right? That's what it is, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this story. Thank you.